proportion. We've looked at ratio and now we are supposed to look at proportion. Before we look at proportion, let's revise the concept of equivalent fractions. Now, when two fractions have the same value but appears with different figures, we say they are equivalent. For instance, if I have 1/2 and 3/6, these two fractions are equivalent. The reason is they are both representing half. So from the diagram here, we have a circle with a green background and an orange background. That is, we've divided the circle into two equal halves. So the fraction of the background with green color is 1/2. If I decide to divide a circle into 4 equal parts instead of 2, the same green background, the fraction now becomes 2/4. And if I decide to divide further into 8 equal parts, the same green background becomes 4/8. But then, have I changed the size of the green background? No, it is still half of the circle. And so 4/8 is half. 2/4 is also half. And then 1/2, as we already know, is half. And so the value of 1/2 is the same as the value of 4/8. These two fractions, we say they are equivalent. Now, if I decide to segregate the equivalence nature of this, I will write it as 1/2 is equal to, this one is 1/2 multiplying 4/4. And so you see that the 4/4 is actually 1. It's actually 1. So we haven't really changed the fraction. We've only changed the values or the figures that make the equivalence. And so in ratio and proportion, we will not say equivalent fractions, but we mean equivalent fractions. When two fractions are equivalent, in ratio and proportion, we say they are proportional. So they have the same value. We say the two fractions are equal. And again, we should also remember that we will not call it fractions. We have 1:2. We can write it as 1/2. But in ratio and proportion, we call it ratio instead of fractions. So if two ratios are of equal values, we say if two ratios are equal, then the ratio of one equal to the other is called proportion. So if I have 1/2 equal to 3/6, we say these two ratios are proportional. So that is the concept of proportion. Two ratios are proportional when they are equal. That is it. Now we know what proportion means, that when two ratios are equal, then they become proportional. And so when we are given two ratios, how do we determine whether they are proportional or not? And so this one we have two methods. So assuming we are given 1/2 and 7/14 to determine whether these two are proportional, the first method that we are going to use, we are going to convert each fraction to its simplest form. So 1/2 is already in its simplest form, and 7/4 can be written as 1 times 7 divided by 2 times 7, and that 7 will cancel 7 to give us 1/2 is equal to 1/2. Since we got their simplest form to be equal, it means 1 over 2 is proportional to 7 over 14. That is the first method. Now the second method is for you to do cross multiplication. So 1 over 2 will multiply, you will first of all equate them, and then you do cross multiplication. So 2 will multiply 7 and 1 will multiply 14. When the result on either side of the equation equal to sign are equal, then we say the two fractions are proportional, or the two ratios are proportional. So let's do it. 1 times 14 will be 14, and that is 2 times 7 is also 14. Once we get them to be equal, then we know that 1 over 2 is proportional to 7 over 14. So these are the two methods that we want to use. And so in proportion, you may be given something like 3 over x, or maybe like 3 is to x is proportional, or they can also use the word equivalent, proportional to 18 is to 36. Then you have to find the value of x. So our solution will be 3 over x is equal to 18 over 36. You are not going to check because the question says it is proportional, so it's already given. So now the first method is to convert 18 over 36 to look like 3 over something, and so that can be written as 3 times 6 divided by 6 times 6, and that is equal to this. Okay, so when we cancel out 6 and 6, we will get a simplified answer to be 3 over x is equal to 3 over 6. Once we are told these two ratios are proportional, it means that the numerators are equal, the denominators are also equal. So our x will be equal to 6. Now the second method, method 2, we have 3 over x equal to 18 over 36. So what we will do is we are now going to do cross multiplication. So 3 will multiply 36, and then x will multiply 18. That will give us 108 is equal to 18x. Now we divide through by 18 to get our x. So our x is going to be 18 goes into 1086 times. So our x is going to be 6. So this is how we find the value of x. Now let's try this example. Given that m plus 2 is to 1 is equal to 6 is to 2. We have to find the value of m. So we have to find the value of m in this situation. Okay, so we have m plus 2 over 1, and that is equal to 6 over 2. as I said earlier, once we have this to be over 1, we can make, so using the first method, we can choose to make the second part 2 over 1. So we have m plus 2 over 1 being equal to 3 times 2 divided by 1 times 2. So 2 and 2 will go away. Oh, this side is over 1, sorry. They will go away, and now we have m plus 2 over 1 is equal to 3 over 1. Now you know in mass over 1 doesn't mean anything. So m plus 2 is equal to 3. Our m will be equal to 3 minus 2. And so our m will be equal to 1. That is what we have. Okay. Now if you are to use the second method, we will have m plus 2 over 1 equal to 6 over 2. And so we do our cross multiplication. We have 2 multiplying m plus 2 and then 1 multiplying 6. So we have 2m plus 4 is equal to 6. This 2m now becomes 6 minus 4. So 2m is equal to 2. So 2m over 2 is equal to 2 over 2. 2 cancels out 2. M will be equal to this. 2 cancels out 2. M is equal to 1. So in each of the methods, you will get the same answer. You only have to be smart enough not to make mistakes in the first method. Yes. So this is what proportion is about. The basic understanding of proportion. If anything, we will need to solve more examples.